Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this will be the assignment 3 for Composite Structure MECH 4387. Right. So in case any of you are watching that is not my student or not taking this course, feel free to watch if you want, but this will be specifically me addressing what is the assignment for the student who are taking the Composite Structure course. Right. So alright, moving on. So the task for today is, or not for today, for this assignment, this will be assignment 3. It will be similar to what we have done before, right? For assignment 1 and 2, it's just added to it, right? So as usual, I'll share the screen capture of what you should be doing, and you should get the idea what you should do, right? So now, first and foremost, we will continue from the same Excel file as you have done before, right? You have done 2 assignments before, you understand the concept already, right? However, I would like to remind of several things. One is in terms of the naming of the file. So it consists of, first you put your metric number at the front. For example, if your metric number is 098765543, so write that in the front, right? I think the majority of the students for assignment 1 and 2, you comply with this instruction, but 1 or 2 of you are still having the file name wrong. So I'm not sure why that is, but know that you do not be surprised basically if you are heavily penalized in your mark, on the assignment mark, if you get the file name wrong, right? Because this is just, you are already in the final year of your engineering course, and this is just a simple instruction. So do show that you can comply with some simple instruction as such. So again, metric number and then MECH 4387, that's the course code, and then assignment 3. So just update, before it should be 2, and then just update to 3, right? And then when we go into the Excel file, okay, this interface, this is just because we have index here. That's for me personally, just to keep track of what assignment I have given before and what will be next, right? So before, you have already 4 tabs, right? You have isotropic, for 2 tabs for isotropic, 2 tabs for anisotropic, right? So your task for this assignment is just add another 2 tabs. One is UD Ply Computation. UD stand for unidirectional, so this is unidirectional Ply Computation, and also another tab for Ply Material Data, right? So that's the 2 tabs that you have to add for this assignment. Just the other tab, just leave it be, because I will always want to see back what you have done before in case it is necessary, right? So as just to refresh, before you have the isotropic and anisotropic assignment, right now it is about unidirectional ply, right? So what we will be computing is compute the modulus and Poisson ratio of the ply, right? And in the concept, you should already understand that before we deal with one material, but when we say composite and apply composite, it is already consisting of both the fiber reinforcement and also the matrix, right? So you have 2 material now in this assignment. Okay, so just for the next assignment, because you may see this one straight away right now, we will discuss on the next assignment, right? But for now, just focus on assignment 3. So when you go to the UD Ply Computation, so as of before, you have the scroll down menu here to select the material, right? So you have to have the 2 material selection. One is for the matrix or the resin, one is for the fiber reinforcement, right? So the idea is as before, right? It will take the material from the list from the next tab, right? So for matrix or resin, at least just use 2, right? Epoxy and polyester resin. For the fiber reinforcement, we'll just use the exact 4 material that you have done before for anisotropic assignment, right? You have Kevlar, glass, and the 2 carbon material, right? So I think we go first to the Ply Material Data tab. to see what is the material that is going to be listed there, and also the material properties, right? Alright, so so you will have two tables. One is for the material properties for matrix, and this will be the isotropic material, and then you have the material properties for the fiber reinforcement. For this is, it can be isotropic, it can be anisotropic. So from the four material that we have done before, the glass is actually isotropic, right? And then Kevlar carbon is anisotropic, right? So you have to have the elastic modulus, and then shear modulus, and also Poisson ratio, right? And of course for isotropic, it's just the modulus of elasticity, E, because it is the same in whatever direction. But for anisotropic, as you have known before, you have the X and Y direction. Make sure the label is also accurate. So you have E and G here, and Poisson ratio, but here you have EX, EY, GXY, and V, or it's not really V, right? It's portion that what do you call that? Let's call it VXY, right? Okay. Now I also want you to have the screenshot or the snapshot of the source. However, this is an additional to what you have done before in terms of how it is being presented here, right? So before, I just want you to paste the snapshot below or on the side. But for this one, I want it to be hidden until we want to see it, right? For example, for this is just some Excel function that is part of your assignment now. To learn some function of Excel that is there, just you have to learn for a few minutes, and then you understand how to do it, right? So here I have the button for show row for material properties and show row for material properties here, respective for isotropic and isotropic, right? I will start for the anisotropic first. If I click here, then it should show the same table before, right? This is taken from your textbook. I think most of you have done this before, right? You put the source table, right? But I think there are still some of you that in your Excel file this is missing, right? So that does mean that the mark for this will be missing also, right? So make sure you have this, right? So make sure you learn also in terms of the function how to do this, you can hide and show this table, right? So in this table, this is the exact table as you have done for anisotropic before, right? So you have glass, Kevlar, the two carbon, right? And then of course you have to convert from longitudinal and transverse direction to X and Y, because in terms of the ply, we consider the X-axis is the longitudinal axis. So EL become the EX, ET becomes EY. Alright, so I think you get the idea. So hide this one. So for matrix, the challenge is to get the source in terms of having the complete E, G, and Poisson ratio value, right? So in this case, what I have found, you can try to Google this. So whatever you, because this is the reason why I want you to put the snapshot in the file, so that I can refer where you get your source from, or the value from, even if it's somewhat a bit different based on your source, perhaps, right? So this is one table. But from here, what I want is the epoxy, right? So here I have the epoxy, so EX, EY, and G12 and Poisson ratio 1:2 is given, so I can take there to put in my table. And then there's another different source that I've managed to find for this is polyester resin, right? So if you can find more possible metrics, you can do so as well. Just add to the table, right? And then make sure to put in your table there, right? If you add more, then I'll perhaps consider if you need some additional marks in the assignment if you are missing elsewhere. I can consider that, but the minimum is 2, right? So, and the normal is epoxy and polyester. However, I think you will find some difficulty to find a source that have all of this, right? Because some source only give the elastic without the shear value, etc. So hence it is quite difficult to get the 4 or 3 item in one go, right? From one source. But anyway, so that is about the material properties, right? So make sure you have the properties, the table, and also this function here, right? So that function is as well part of your assignment, right? So if you do not do this function here, you just paste it there, then you lose in terms of the mark for that functionalities that is part of the assignment today. Alright, so going back to this tab, so obviously we can select, for example, epoxy, and then I select Kevlar, for example, right? Hence you can see this okay, before it's all hidden, right? So there, so when I select the material property, material selection, and then it will show the value. Of course, what we need as well is the volume fraction. In this case, it's volume fraction of fiber that you have to key in, because obviously you are combining two material, the fiber and the matrix, and what is the percentage in terms of the volume, right? For example, if the fiber is 60%, so then obviously the matrix will become 40%, and then it will calculate here. Sorry, this is this is property of the ply, and based on this equation here, right? So for this assignment, obviously I will not specify the percentage, because your assignment is not that. Your assignment is how to make this Excel that whatever percentage that I have, it will just calculate accordingly. Alright, so on this part here, you have to have the calculation or the presentation of the property of the matrix itself. So this part is like in your first assignment, and then properties of the fiber, this is like your second assignment. This is the additional part, right? Properties of the ply, right? So make some notes here, just to make it clear what is the direction. So you have to also get any illustration to show what the meaning of whatever you have done here, right? For example, x-axis, y-axis, not x-axis, sorry, yeah, x direction and y direction, how it is related to the longitudinal and transverse, right? Okay, so also put all of this equation, that is the basis of your calculation here, right? All of this is basically just a snapshot of your textbook, right? So for those who haven't done, for those who have done assignment 1 and 2, you know where to get this equation, right? It's just from the textbook. But for those who haven't, get the textbook. The PDF can be obtained from internet. Just Google the textbook, you'll find the PDF. You just download, and you can just screenshot all of this, right? So put them here. So you have EL equation, ET, GLT, FV, Poisson ratio, LT, right? So that will be the calculation there. Okay, now next, there's also the calculation of the property of the ply. Okay, this one is if when the fiber orientation is exactly match the longitudinal direction, meaning that if the ply is like this, right? So the fiber is aligned like this, and then this is X. That's hence EL is basically EX, right? Because it's the same. However, as you can see in the diagram here, the longitudinal of the fiber direction can be having an angle between that fiber orientation and X, right? For example, if the ply is being not how to say, if the fiber is like this, but the ply is cut in at an angle, right? So when you take this one, the fiber is not like this, is something like this, for example. So there's an angle between the ply axis and also the fiber axis, right? So the equation here is also from the textbook. It will relate what is X to the angle here, right? The theta is embedded in this C and S. Okay, I forgot to put another part of the equation where C means cos to the power of some, and S means sine, etc., right? So put that as well, the equation here. And then in the calculation here, in the computation, for example, you have the theta is 30 degrees. Hence, there will be a calculation here, right? Obviously, if theta is 0, the modulus of EX should be the exact modulus of longitudinal, right? Here, right? Because it match, right? The x-axis and fiber axis is the same. Hence, modulus of elasticity in x is the modulus of elasticity in longitudinal of the fiber, right? So it's the same. But when you have the angle like 30 degrees, it should be reduced. And if the angle gets to 90 degrees, obviously it will be the transverse, right? So this will be equal to the transverse direction modulus, right? So you can verify your calculation. It should be from when it is 90 degrees, it should be the same as transverse, whatever the value is, because this value is based on whatever up here, right? So if I select glass, obviously the value is for glass, and if this is 80%, then the value is accordingly, right? So when it's 90 degrees, it's the same as the transverse, which is the minimum basically. When it's 0 degrees, it will be the same as the longitudinal. So so that is your assignment, to have the Excel add another 2 tab. One is for Ply computation, one is for the material data. Make sure you have all of the function and the sources pasted on, and also make sure you have this diagram here as an illustration, and also the equation here, right? So this is all actually to help you when towards the end of the semester you have all of this, and you can relate basically what is this, what is the meaning of this, etc., etc., and how it is being calculated, etc., right? Just to give a hint what is next, right? So in terms of the assignment 4, of course here my idea is to have it in video. Perhaps it may be also in audio, right? I haven't finalized that yet in terms of that assignment, but that is for you to explain what you have learned so far from the 3 previous assignment, right? So that's the idea for it. So make sure when you do this assignment, make sure you understand, so that when it comes for next assignment, you can easily explain, right? Okay, so that's the idea. Of course, I will make a video on your response. Some of you have responded in terms of what you like, prefer or not prefer in terms of the remaining of the semester, in terms of the learning process, right? Including there's many of you that commented about or responded about the video assignment, right? Whether you like it or not. So that will be in the coming video. I will make my I will cover the response of the survey, inshallah. All right. So again, that's your assignment. It will be 1 week. So the exact date I will put on iTa'lim, and also inshallah on Google Classroom. Hopefully all of you are in there already. So that's the assignment. Make sure you submit on time or before the deadline, and make sure all of the items are there, including the name of the file is correct, and whatever that I've mentioned, right, is there, inshallah. Wallahu alam. So have a good time in terms of completing your assignment, submit before the deadline, and with that, jazakallah khairan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.